Hey class, today I'm going to be doing my demonstration speech for you guys. I'd first like to apologize for my voice. I unfortunately got sick over the week and I did wait to see if my voice was going to get better, but unfortunately it has not, so please bear with me. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to make arroz con leche. Now, arroz con leche, what exactly is it? Arroz con leche is a sweet dish made with rice and milk with spices like cinnamon or star anise along with others. Arroz con leche is just the Spanish name for it, but this dish can be traced back to many different cultures like China, India, and the Middle East. In Greek culture, it's firmly known as rice pudding and it's eaten cold. There's many different ways to enjoy this recipe, which is one of my favorite things about it. I put in here a couple pictures of the way it can be eaten. You know, this is the way I'm most used to it. This is the way I'm going to be showing you guys how to make it, but along doing research for this speech, I did find out people will also bake it, add in raisins and a bunch of different things, which can make the recipe very cool and very different. That's very cool about this recipe. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make arroz con leche the way my Mexican family makes it. For the ingredients, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need 3 cups of water, 3 cups of whole milk. Now again, this recipe is very versatile. You can change whatever you'd like to it. You can add a different type of milk if you'd like. I prefer whole milk because I like the creamy taste of it. 2 cups of white rice washed. It's important that you wash your rice. You want the water to run clear as you're washing it. It takes about 4 to 5 times, but it's a very important step for this recipe. You're also going to need 1 can evaporated milk, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and cinnamon sticks. You know, this is my favorite brand to use for cinnamon sticks because they come really thick and it's a great price for what you get. You can use whatever. You can also just use cinnamon powder if you'd like. I prefer using actual cinnamon sticks and cinnamon powder because it brings a more stronger cinnamon taste, which is my personal favorite part about this recipe. You're also going to need some vanilla extract. So you don't have to even add this stuff. I know a lot of people who don't, but it makes for a richer, creamier, like decadent kind of sweet. It's the way I like it. I like it more creamy, more decadent in my opinion, more of that kind of dessert. So to start, you're going to put 3 cups of water to boil with the 2 to 3 cinnamon sticks that you added into it. Now, you're going to keep this on high heat because you want it to come to a boil, okay? So once it gets to a boiling like this, you want it to be bubbling. That's how you know it's boiling. This is where you're going to add your 2 cups of rice washed. You're going to give it a little stir, and after this, it's important that you turn the heat all the way to low. Now, I know this varies from gas stoves with electric stoves. You know, I'm not really sure. There's a difference I hear, but I have a gas stove, and it's important to bring it all the way to low. This is as if you're making regular, like white rice, because you want all of the rice to absorb all of this water. Once it gets to that step, again, this is all on low heat. It'll probably take 10 minutes. It varies on stove, and just very important that you are watching your arroz con leche as you're making it because you don't want it to get stuck. It is rice after all. You have to be careful with it. So once the water is fully absorbed into the rice, this is where you're going to add in your 3 cups of whole milk, whatever milk you'd like. I added whole milk. I also added in this next step some cinnamon powder. Here's where I added in the can of evaporated milk and a splash of vanilla extract. You can vary this to how you'd like. This is where I added the whole can of sweetened condensed milk. Again, this recipe is very versatile. You don't have to add in the whole can if you don't want it too sweet. I do like mine sweet and cinnamony, so that is what I added. So once you give this a quick stir, this is all again on low heat. You're gonna cover your rice and let it simmer for 10 to however long it really takes. Again, it varies by your stove. If you have a gas stove or electric stove, I heard that can vary on the heat and timing differences of recipes. So just make sure you're watching your rice. You want to keep mixing it, make sure it doesn't get stuck at the bottom. But you're just gonna let this simmer until the rice is fully cooked. Now, once the rice is fully cooked, this is where it's gonna start to look like more thickened. And this is how it should look like when it's done. I like mine a little bit more watery. You can get this to be more thick if you let it sit for longer, let it simmer for much longer. But you have to be making sure you're watching that the rice isn't overcooked because you don't want it to be too soft and then mushy. That's what we don't want. So again, this all varies on you. You have to be watching your arroz con leche. But once it is fully cooked, you're gonna turn off the heat and serve and enjoy. I personally like to eat mine warm. This again varies from culture to culture. I know in Greek culture, they eat it cold and they know it as rice pudding. So this is all to your liking. I like my warm again, and I served it with a little bit of whipped cream and a sprinkle of cinnamon topping. This is the way I grew up eating it, minus the whipped cream. This is really just for like aesthetic purposes, but I grew up eating mine warm, and it was a really good sweet treat after having dinner or just having a long cold day, especially in the winter. This recipe really hits the spot. It's a very cozy, warm kind of dessert, which just reminds me of my childhood. So I'm really glad that I got to share this with you guys. Now that you guys know how to make arroz con leche, you guys can, again, modify the ingredients as needed. It's very versatile to change to anyone's taste, whether it's changing the milk or adding in less sugar. I mean, the sweetened condensed milk, or maybe adding a sugar substitute to make it more diabetes friendly. You know, I have a lot of people in my family who have diabetes, so it very much is a very versatile recipe. So I really hope you guys enjoy, and that you guys get to try out this recipe and make arroz con leche and enjoy it. Thank you.